So today I would like to talk about miracles and all these tools that most of the people are very fascinated to use, like different kind of music that removes supposedly negative influence from their house, from their body, and so on. The sad point here is that the majority of people do not understand actually the source of negativity in their lives. So they project their power outwards and look for a solution from the outside. So they look for miracles, they look for salvation, they look for some savior or some kind of a healing tool that would give them instant or very quick results. And that's why they, at the end of the day, they don't receive any results, or these results are short-lived. The reason for all these things not working really in the long run is because the majority of people who evolve into spirituality or try to go into spiritual science, into spiritual study, do not understand the essence and the basic principles of what is actually spirituality and what it is for. Nor they understand the internal processes of themselves and their inner motives. So most of the people come for all kinds of wrong motives, which sprout out of the distortions within. So these distortions are of emotional nature, and the reason, the program that runs within them is the program of victimization, spiritual narcissism, and discontentment. So if you come to spirituality out of these reasons, you will definitely need to face first these roots which push you to search, to come to the spiritual field. And with time, if you're really pursuing this path further, you will realize that you have been ignorant on the account of so many things. That spirituality is not about over-positivity, that it's not about helping others or imposing something onto others. It is not about listening to some binaural beats or some rhythms, or looking for some kind of people who promise you third eye activation over the weekend. In order to really come to the right path, there has to be some sort of a grace and inner dedication, inner simplicity and maturity that pushes the person in the right direction. If you come out of desire to gain power, to become something, to be acknowledged, to pet your spiritual narcissism, you will end up in the hands of wrong people who will manipulate you, take advantage of you, attract you beyond your actual conscious will, or they will use you in the name of spirituality. But the spirituality that you're looking for is conditional. That's why you get conditional or conditioned solutions for it. Well, now, when people go into all these YouTube videos which offer them miracles, all of a sudden solutions and all, such videos are very popular because people simply don't want to work on themselves. They don't want to work on the reasons which are behind their sufferings, discontentment, and so on. They want to relay their responsibility onto someone else, because a sign of a victim is a being who doesn't want to take responsibility for their own life and observe, contemplate, act from the point of being responsible for all own actions, emotions, feelings, reactions. So they would rather hope and project their power and their insecurities and everything onto someone else. And then if that doesn't work, this someone else will be blamed. And mostly they manifest in their lives people who cannot actually help them, but who promise a lot, who are the victims themselves, because they sent the same message out there, and this message is caught by their victimized self, the promise, the hope, the salvation. You have to understand that, and most of the people who have matured enough will understand that there is nothing without work. And this work is not necessarily physical. It's emotional, mental. It's desire to really understand how the illusion plays us out within ourselves. So we're not looking for solutions outwards. We're not listening to anything. We're not using our senses in order to get more and more attached within this reality. We are trying to look within. We're trying to awake and expand our awareness about those hidden points within ourselves that push us actually to search wrong solutions, that push us to delude ourselves. So once we become aware of them, we no longer go into these paths. We understand that without truly refining ourselves, without awakening, first of all, to these distortions, and then hard, dedicated, continuous and conscious work on these inner distortions, there is no miracle and there is no elimination of negative energy. And when people go into listening to all these musical pieces and stuff on YouTube, which promises them removal of negative energy, attraction of love, attraction of money, they don't understand that the root causes of not having money or being always in lack of something, discontent, not able to really understand what love is, and constantly needing and looking for emotional dumpsters or someone to appreciate them because they simply don't appreciate themselves, is not going to give them any solution. So all these tools are for fools and they lead to nowhere. They don't remove any negative energy because your body is the host of all negative energies. Your body is the very carrier of all your reactions, inclinations, desires, and it attracts this negative energy in the form of whatever. All of us are tangled with ancestral elements, the occult. The majority of the people are following the occult because they want to change, alter their reality, to attract someone against their will, to attract money, to succeed in some limited field. Due to their ignorance, they don't understand the repercussions of these intentions, which eventually get them tangled with this reality, with the occult reality, and such pursuits take toll eventually on their lives, health, other areas of life, children, further generations. So wise men choose not to interfere. They work on themselves. They refine their own world and perception of the reality, their own emotions, emotional reality. They become free from it, and then they plunge into deep contentment. And out of this contentment, they continue living, rebuilding their lives, and having everything in a balanced way. When you look at the majority of the people who pursue spirituality, they always lack something. They misunderstand relationships because they approach these relationships from an unrefined perspective. Desire, need for love without being content within is fertile. It brings them to dramas. And dramas are the result of their inner lack of refinement and understanding of this illusionary reality, because no one explained them. They think that they tattoo some symbols on their body or they carry some symbols on their body, or they dress up in some kind of a special way, and they will be special and chosen. They'll know something. True knowledge is simple. It doesn't proclaim itself. It comes from within and stays there and shines. Now, how to measure your progress is through that. How content you are, how simple you are in your approach to things and life in general, how integrated you are, how content you are on all areas of life. If there is discontent, it means there is imbalance, and your spirituality is not bearing true fruit. That is, it means it's not the right spiritual path. It's a path of then projection or hallucination or your imagination. Because true path is the path of awakening to all that is the obstacle for the balanced existence, that obstructs you from being content on all levels, physical, emotional, mental, intellectual, and your ability to really connect to the ultimate. And this connection is possible only through being awakened to this experience of the ultimate self, and only then refining self through this understanding of being the ultimate and seeing the transitory within the self. Oh, this is the way. And it takes time, and because it takes time, it cannot be attractive. Because people will continue looking for miracles, salvation, healers, solutions, fast solutions, because they are not ready to work on themselves, to face themselves, to understand what is there within themselves that pushes them to all the delusional paths. And when they look for removal of negative energy, they don't understand that they carry the hooks within themselves that hook on this negative energy or entities onto their being. So by listening to some music, they're not going to remove the reasons. And there aren't so many masters who can at this point of time. There are many people who can do harm, who can manipulate negative energy, hurt other people, but there are not so many people who can undo this effect. And that's why everyone is currently living this, so to speak, judgment day, because everyone is just facing the results of their actions, their entanglements, emotional, mental, physical. And that is why there is no need to change anything, but just to experience the reality as it is, trying to withdraw within and observe the root causes of the suffering, the place of the suffering within the body, where it comes from, where these waves come from, and become a miracle yourself. There's no such a thing as healing from the outside. Healing means a shift, reconnection with the source, which nourishes and replenishes the energy. And also through that connection and absorption into self, one sees the transitory points that actually create the disease, the imbalance, the feeling of suffering, the misinterpretation of reality, the personal story that is only personal, in which we are trying to involve other people around us. So we create dramas. Without understanding these mechanisms, there is no way forward. You can entertain yourself with magical tools, with different rituals, with all kinds of imaginary practices trying to show or prove yourself or someone else something. Yet it means you haven't started anything on the path to self-improvement or refinement. the essence of evolution is not demonstration of anything within the illusionary reality. The path of evolution is being able to reconnect with the source within self, reintegration of the body towards that, and being able to transcend consciously into subtler realms further after the point of death. Also, to be able to live in a very integrated way in this life within the physical body. So, and it's so simple, right? It lacks tinsel and flair. That's why it's not very appealing to most of the people who look for well packaged, marketed, and sold spiritual solutions. But on the other hand, everyone gets what they are able to get, want to get, and it's about divine or either divine grace or divine wrath. So those people who end up pursuing wrong path simply have to explore it and walk in circles, because this is what they want from within. This is how they understand it and how they need to go through all these trials in order to understand the reasons for their choices. And those who get into the path of simplicity and try to work on themselves, realize with time, after several years, that they truly have refined, that there is a realization and experience which is beyond words, that doesn't need to be demonstrated. And such people are mature enough to receive the grace of the ultimate and to evolve further.